Good evening to those online and those in person. My name is Reverend Lee Alvarado. I'm the senior minister here. So glad that you have joined us this evening. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Northern Colorado. We are an inclusive community honoring all faith traditions, lifestyles, and beliefs. Wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. So let's recite together our vision and then our mission. So let's say this together. Our vision. We are a powerful spiritual community, lovingly committed to a world of acceptance, compassion, peace, and joy. And our mission, to gather together to express love, practice radical acceptance and inclusion, and to connect with one another and with spirit. So settle back and go within as we begin with an opening prayer, a brief meditation, and an opening song.
So let's just settle into that heart center space, that sacred space, that place where we know God is. We draw our energy and love and all that is, knowing that God is this infinite energy that moves in, of, and through all of life. And I know myself and each person here is one with this infinite energy. I know that it is present here in this room as Reverend Leah speaks her word, helping to raise the consciousness of each person here, each person who has chosen to be here and to change their lives and to elevate all of that is within it. I am so grateful for each person who is here in service, for this beautiful community. I know that somewhere out there the sun is behind these gloomy days. The warmth is waiting to radiate, just as it radiates in this room. So I know that everything that unfolds here today is perfect. It is good. It is love. It is community. And it is all God. And I simply release these words with a grateful heart, knowing that it is all so, and so it is. So behind me are some words to a meditation. Julie's going to lead us through. So please join us quietly as we go into meditation. Love is who I am. Love is who we are. Love is all there is. All there is love is who I am. Love is who we are. Love is all there is. All there is love is who I am. Love is who we are. Love is all there is. All there is. One more time. Love is who I am. Love is who we are. Love is all there is. All love.
All right, so this next song that I'm going to do is one that I actually hadn't heard before, and I think it's really quite beautiful. Comparing the presence of God in your life to a rolling river, and then comparing yourself to a stone that becomes smooth and polished over time, even through the hard times. Everything that we go through makes us smoother or better. So this is called Rolling River God.
Rolling river God, little stones are smooth, only once the water passes through. So I am a stone, rough and grainy still, trying to reconcile this river's chill. But when I close my eyes and feel you rushing by, I know that time brings change, and change takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer would be this one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother in your hand. Sometimes raging wild, sometimes swollen high. Never have I known this river dry. The deepest part of you is where I want to stay and feel the sharpest edges wash away. And when I close my eyes, I know that I can feel you rushing by. I know that time brings change, and change takes time. And when the sunset comes, my prayer would be this one, that you might pick me up and notice that I am just a little smoother in your hand. rolling river, God. Little stones are smooth, only once the water passes through.
Beautiful job, Julie. Beautiful. Hello, everyone. So, we are talking about God today. If that surprises you, just so you know, that's what we're talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, this whole month, we're going back to the basics. And what that means is that every week, we're talking about a different spiritual principle related to our teaching, the science of mind. So, and today is all about God, about what and who is God. So, so many of us grew up with this version of God, a judgmental, condemning God. How many of you grew up with that kind of God? Yeah, likely all of us. Yeah. And, this God that we feared. And in Science of Mind, very different. So in Science of Mind, we believe that God is immanent and transcendent. So God is both within us and all around us. God is contained in all things. And we have many names for God, actually. There's so many, but here are a few. The Absolute, Creative Intelligence, Divine Creator, Divine, Love, Divine Intelligence, and I could go on. There's many, many names for God. And, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, he talked about in his book, Can We Talk to God? That as humans, we attempt to define it. The finite beings that we are attempt to define the infinite. And really, it's hard to describe the infinite, isn't it? It's really a challenging thing to describe it. And he talks about that in his book, that how challenging it is. But he says this, which I really love. He says that there are moments when the individual consciousness feels itself merged with the universal, then it knows and no longer asks for explanations. As humans, we want proof. We want evidence. Our logical mind wants to know, well, give me proof. Show me that there is such thing as God. Our rational mind needs that. But the presence of God is really something that we find in those quiet moments, in the stillness. That's where the divine is found. That's where God is found. So when we leave our logical mind and we merge with that universal presence that Ernest Holmes was talking about, that's when we get to experience it fully. A minister in our movement, Reverend Frank Richelieu, said, God is a presence which you have to find in your heart and sense deep within you, not on a mountaintop or in a desert. You have to find God within yourself. So when we first begin our inquiry about God and who God is, it's really an intellectual exercise. As we're trying to figure out this God that we knew when we were growing up and the God that we now know. And as we contemplate it, the ideas that we had when we were younger, they no longer fit. They no longer fit with who we are now. And just like any relationship, our relationship with God is evolving because we are always evolving. And wherever we're at in this journey, so whether you've been on your spiritual path for decades, or maybe you've been on a spiritual path for just a few months, maybe it's new for you, but wherever you are, it's good for all of us to ask the question, who and what is God? What is God for you? How do you define that for yourself? What would a relationship with God at this stage of your spiritual journey, what would that look like? And here's an even better question that I think all of us need to answer. Can I trust that God is conspiring for my highest and my greatest good? Can I trust that? Can I really trust that God has my back? So reflect on that for a moment. Is the trust there? And it's okay if it's not. But these are questions that are important to ask ourselves as we're moving along this spiritual journey and developing a relationship with God. It's unfortunate, but so many people have been traumatized by religion. And some of you might be sitting in these seats today or at home hearing the sound of my voice and experience that. And if that's so, then when you hear me say the word God, chances are that's a bit triggering for you. And if that's so, I invite you to just take a deep breath, breathe it out, because I'm going to talk about God a lot today. I also want to remind you, and some of you may not be aware, that we have practitioners available. And I'm available too. If you've been traumatized by religion, if God is a figure for you that creates some dissonance within you, know that you have support. Know that our practitioners, and we're going to talk about their role later today in the service and how they can support you. To truly understand what God is and who God is, sometimes it does require some healing. Sometimes for some of us, that is the first step that we need to take in order to develop a relationship with the divine. Each of us need to find our own way in connecting with God. No one can define God for us. That's something that we have to do for ourselves. Our journey to the divine is really a solitary one. Our spiritual journey is a solitary one. And I don't mean to imply that spiritual community isn't important, because it absolutely is. It's a beautiful part of our journey. As we share, we gain insights. As we hear others share, we gain more insights, and we grow and we evolve through spiritual community. But our relationship with God, our relationship with the divine, is something we can only experience within ourselves, in the stillness, in the quiet. And so taking that time to find out who God is for each of us and developing a new relationship with it. I love what Mark Nepo said in his book, Unlearning Back to God. He said something really profound. He said this: each person is born with an unencumbered spot, free of expectation and regret, free of ambition and embarrassment, free of fear and worry, an umbilical spot of grace where we were each first touched by God. You know, in Science of Mind, we say something very similar, that God is within us. That divine spark, that spot, is contained within every single being, because we were birthed from that essence. We were birthed from that universal light. We can never be separated from it. That spot is always there. And so here's the thing, though. Most of us weren't taught that, were we? We weren't taught that growing up, that divine essence is right here within us, always available to all of us. We were taught that God is out there, outside of us, somewhere out here, or actually up there sitting on a throne with a long white beard. That was the God that we all were taught, right? Can you picture that? Yeah, the guy, yeah. And we were also told that God has all the power. That being up there has all the power. But here's the thing to know, and some of you know this already. that because the essence of the divine lives within us, that spot is right here within each of us, that power also is within us. We're taking that power back. We have the power to create what it is that we desire in our life. It's not just from out here. It comes from within here. And so there's this ongoing tension that happens with us as humans, because we're human beings, but we're also divine beings. And so we have this tension that exists because we're in this human existence, and we're seeing the news, and we're moving through the world, and we're seeing these awful images on TV. The incessant mind chatter that goes on in our brains that just doesn't shut up. Anybody relate to that? My God, sometimes it just doesn't shut up. It just keeps going, right? And the responsibilities that we carry as human beings, human doings, you've probably heard that, right? Because we're constantly doing, running here, running there. And then there's this beautiful spot, this divine light, this spark that is right here. We remember our humanness, but we forget that this spot is always here, right here. And what happens is this spot within us, although it never goes away and we're never separated from it, because we forget that it's there, and all the things that we experience as humans, the trauma and the drama and all the overwhelm and the stress and all the things, that spot gets a bit tarnished. It gets a bit covered up with all of those things. And so, but the further along we move, as we move along our spiritual journey, slowly we begin to peel away those layers. And we replace the images that we grew up with God on a throne. We begin to replace those images with other images that are serving to our heart and to our being and to our spirit. And we create a new relationship with God, one that's based in love and based in trust. And so our relationship evolves. And as it evolves, we release stuff. We shed those things that no longer serve us, those things that are no longer essential. And we begin to live more in the divine world than we do in the human world. And I don't mean to imply that we're flying around up here in this divine world, as fun as that can be sometimes in meditation and all of that. But if we lived up there all the time, we wouldn't even be able to tie our shoes or drive our cars. So there has to be some balance between living in the divine world and connecting to the human world. So we learn how to do that as we navigate this life of ours. But at some point, the more that we develop a relationship with God, the more that we connect in and we remember that spot and that spark that is within us and spend time in the stillness connecting to it, the more we no longer need or rely on things outside of us to prove our worthiness. It suddenly is, it's not about the size of our house or the type of car we drive or the labels on our shoes or our clothes or how much money we have in our bank account. Suddenly, none of that is as important as the divine that we are connected to in the relationship that we have. And here's what's magical about that, is that the more we spend connecting to that inner spot, that spark, that light, the more joy we experience. You know, there's gurus, there's yogis sitting on piles of trash in India, meditating and feeling ecstatic bliss. They have nothing. They have nothing. And they are feeling such joy and bliss. Now, I'm not suggesting we do that, but I'm just trying to make a point that we rely so much on these things outside of ourselves to bring us joy. Well, if I have the perfect relationship, then I'll be happy. Well, if I make this certain kind of money, then I'll be happy. If I have this perfect job, then I'll be happy. We rely on things outside of ourselves and once again giving power to something outside of us to bring us joy and happiness. When really, the happiness and the joy that we desire is right here, that spot, that spark, connecting to it. I had a chance to practice this over the weekend. My head was going all kinds of directions. I was feeling anxious, I was feeling stressed, and I don't need to go into the details of what was going on, but I'll just tell you that my mind was just bebopping all over the place. And it's funny, when I write these talks, they come through me, and it's not just for all of you, but they're for me too. So I'm sitting there and I'm connecting in to that divine spark, and I'm feeling into the essence and the love and the presence that is there. And suddenly all my anxiety and whatever it is that I was feeling just disappeared. It went away in that moment, just like that. So there's tremendous power in it, but we have to remember to do it and remember to connect in. Mark Nepo talks about this filming over that happens. As human beings, all the things that happen to us and what it gets covered over. So he says this, we call the filming over a deadening of the heart. That's a strong way of saying it, isn't it? A deadening of the heart. And the process of return, whether brought about by suffering or love, is how we unlearn our way back to God. Often it is through our sadness and our despair that brings us to the divine, that brings us to God. What is God trying to show us through our suffering? Sometimes we think, my God, I just feel deep despair and sadness. And we're so focused on the sadness, we're not aware of what it's trying to show us, what it's trying to bring through us. Ernest Holmes said, our founder said, there is no place where God is not. No place. That means that in the suffering, whether it's within ourselves or it's in something happening on the other side of the world, God is there too. When we watch the news, we watch what's happening in the world, and it's only natural to feel heaviness in our heart, to feel heaviness in our body, to feel helpless. But God is in that too. God is in every single situation, every challenge, every issue, every heartbreak. We're just not looking for it. We're so used to, in our own minds, in the human minds, like, well, if I'm not seeing sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, then there must be something wrong. But what we see is a fraction of what's actually happening. Because there is so much that is going on in the invisible realm. There is so much that is unfolding in the consciousness of that community that's just been affected by that shooting, in the consciousness of that family that just lost people in it, the consciousness of that whole continent that's just been affected, or whatever it may be. There is an unfolding happening. There is a consciousness shifting. There is an evolving happening. And as we develop a closer relationship with God, as we cultivate that relationship, we are able to then trust in a whole new way. We're able to look at what's happening in the world and know that what we are seeing with our eyes is only a small piece of what's actually happening. And we can trust. We can trust that God is there in that trauma. God is there in that challenge or in that issue or whatever it is. God is present in all of it. And if we can see it out there, then we can also see it within ourselves. That when we're going through something really hard and difficult, and I know that every single person in here and everybody hearing the sound of my voice today, something we all have in common is that every single one of us has experienced deep despair, hopelessness, sadness. Every single one of us at some point in our life, and some of you may be experiencing it right now. But know that when we're in that state, That we can call on that presence within us. We can call on that light, that spot within us to support us as we move through that time, and trust and know that there is something that is unfolding for each of us that we cannot see right now, but we trust that it is unfolding for our highest and our greatest good. And so, as we move through this path, as we move along this journey, in those moments when we are shouting out to the universe, why? Why is this happening? Why am I experiencing this? I'm sure we've all done that. I know I've done that at times. Why? Why? But again, we are putting it outside of ourselves, as if some deity or some being is going to answer, going to show up. But here's another way we can do that, is we can go into the stillness and we can tune into that divine spark, to that divine essence that is there, and we can ask that question, not from a place of, why is this happening? But Spirit, show me what it is I need to learn today. God, show me what it is that I need to recognize and pay attention to here. God, show me what message do I need to hear right now related to this issue? What do I most need to know? And when we're in that stillness, we're in that place of quiet, as a very different energy, yes? Then why is this happening? We can tune in. We have this co-creative partnership with God that is always available to us, no matter what. We were put here for a reason as souls, not to suffer, although it may feel that way at times, but that's not why we're here. The pain that we are going through can be used as a way to bring us back to God, to bring us back home, to bring us back to that connection with Spirit. And we can consciously do that. So I invite you to look at your life right now, to look at the challenges and the things that you are experiencing. What is God trying to communicate to you through that? Because there's always guidance happening. Every time something challenging happens, and I suspect it's true for all of you, when you're in that moment of deep despair and overwhelm and stress, and then suddenly you get an insight about what to do next, or you get an intuitive hit about what direction to go, or you feel compelled suddenly to go over here, or call this person, or take this action. And our logical mind thinks it's our mind. Our mind knows what to do. No, it's not our mind. It's actually the divine within us, guiding us and showing us, take this direction, turn this way, talk to this person, go sit over there in church next to that person. Suddenly you have a connection, or something magical unfolds that you didn't expect. The divine speaks to us through our intuition. It speaks to us through those moments where we feel compelled to go in one direction or another. Yeah, she agrees. Yeah, she knows. She knows. And as we take that guidance, as we follow that guidance, and we've all done that too. Gosh, I listened, I allowed, I trusted, and I'm exactly where I need to be, doing exactly what I need to be doing at this time in my life. And yes, right now, this is a really painful time, but I know and trust that the divine has my back. I know and trust that I am being guided to do exactly what I need to do for my highest and my greatest good. Some of you may be hearing that and going, I don't know yet. I'm not so sure I'm on board with that yet. It just means there's more work to do. There's no judgment in that. It just means that your relationship with God could use a little more nurturing, a little more cultivating. a little more time. And if you're willing to do that, I can promise you that your life will change as a result. It will absolutely transform itself as a result. Sue Monk Kidd, best-selling author, said this: "That's the sacred intent of life, of God, to move us continuously toward growth, toward recovering all that is lost and orphaned within us, and restoring the divine image imprinted on our soul." We are reminded every day of our human existence, not so much about our divine existence. So we make that conscious choice to tap into that. And in order to know what and who God is, we make that conscious choice to go within every day. We spend time connecting. We spend time nurturing it, just like any relationship. We have to feel our way to God, not think our way to God. And so, what and who is God? That's for each of us to define for ourselves. For me, God is an unending flow of love and life. It is peace, it is power, it is joy, it is harmony, it is good, it is an abundance of blessings that are raining down always. That's for me. But for you, each of you have to define that for yourself and play in it. Play with it. The divine is where we came from, and it's where we will eventually return. And we can wait until we make our transition from this plane of existence to finally know who God is, or we can do it while we are still here in human form. It's up to us. So as you go out into your week, I invite you to really play with this. Who is God? Can I trust that God has my back? Contemplate these questions. In your meditation time, go out to nature, go for a nice walk, sit in front of a candle or an altar at home and tune in and feel that presence. And ask questions that you are wanting answers to and see what shows up. Know that you have this co-creative partner in your life always. And as you affirm and know this truth, your life will be filled with an abundance of blessings. Let's pray. And so in this space, in this moment, we take a sacred breath. And in that breath, we feel that presence of Spirit. We feel that presence of God. We drop into our heart and we know that that spot, that divine essence, that spark lives and breathes as us. We know that that presence is available always and in all ways. We know that we can call on that presence whenever we are feeling insecure, whenever we are feeling stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, or in deep despair. That presence is available to us to assist us and to guide us as we move along this spiritual journey called life. And so I am knowing that right here, right now, that each of us are cultivating a new relationship with God, a new relationship with the divine. And I am knowing that as we do that, that our lives begin to blossom in ways that we can only imagine. That we are trusting more and allowing more and experiencing more joy and happiness and peace. And so with great gratitude for all that is unfolding, we release this. We release this word into the law that always says yes to our life. Spirit always says yes. We let it go. We trust. And together we say, and so it is.
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
So I ask our ushers to come forward. If something tonight in what has been said so far, the music, if something has touched you, if something has inspired you, I invite you to share your gift as a way of saying thank you and for the blessings that are in your life and for what you have received. Thank you. There's a number of ways that you can give. You can visit our website, you can text to give, or you certainly can mail a check if you still have checks. That's also an option. So placing your gift on your heart, let's say our offering affirmation together. This gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give, and joyfully I receive. And so it is.
This is a song by Faith Rivera. I close my eyes, I open my heart, I take a deep breath, let the healing start. I lift my hands, I plant my feet, I let love in, I feel the beat that's calling, calling, calling us to rise. Rise, spirit, rise up, rise in me. I ready my soul, I clear my mind. I'm here and now, in present time. I feel the power of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark. Oh, we rise as one. Oh, rise, rise, spirit, rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, rise, spirit, rise up, rise in me, rise in me. I sing to you, you sing to me. Change up the noise, make sweet harmony. Come on and rise, oh rise, spirit rise up, rise in me. Oh rise, rise, spirit rise up, rise in me, rise in me. Heart to heart, hand in hand, no turning back. on to the promised land. Do you feel the power of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark? Oh, we rise as one. Love's calling, calling out your name. Love's calling. That's why we came. Love's calling, calling out your name. Love's calling, and that's why we came. Come on and rise, oh rise, Spirit rise up, rise in me. Oh rise, rise, oh Spirit rise up, rise in me. Rise up, 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 rise up. Come on and rise up. Ooh.
Yeah. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Matt. So I just bless what is here. I'm knowing that it blesses and multiplies and continues to bless this beloved community of ours, allowing us to continue to do great work in the world. And so it is. Thank you. So if you are here for the first time, is there anybody here for the first time willing to raise your hand? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to our spiritual family. We see you, we appreciate you, and so glad that you're here. If you didn't pick up a welcome packet, there's welcome packets out in the lobby on the table out there with just some information, a little note from me, and some other information about who we are. So welcome. All right, so I'm going to bring up Deborah J. Dawkins, our practitioner, and we're going to do a brief little sharing here about what our practitioner, the training and the background to become a practitioner. We thought this would be a good idea because so many people don't really know what a practitioner is and why they are here and what they do. So each week we're going to have our practitioners come up and share a little bit. So thanks, Deborah J.
So I tend to want to say good morning, but it's actually good evening. I feel really fortunate that I get to be up first because I get to talk about classes and the classes that we go through in order to be a practitioner. So foundations, self-mastery, roots, treatment and meditation, essential Ernest Holmes, power of your word, creative process in the individual, this thing called you, visioning and prosperity, plus 1 and 2 are just some of the classes offered through CSL. To begin the path of practitioner, a minimum of 6 classes from various categories such as foundations, Ernest Holmes philosophy, history, consciousness, and electives are required. Then there is a meeting with the minister before entering practitioner training. Training is actually a 2-year commitment, and each year has 3 terms. Training requires, throughout training, we write papers, take tests, practice prayers, meditations, and sessions. We also focus on releasing past traumas, old beliefs, and fears. Sounds fun, huh? Then after all of that, there is a final written test and a practical test required through CSL. Every 2 years, we renew our license, and we are accountable to our ministers and home office and you. This is just a quick summary of the training we go through, and yet there is so much more which other practitioners will be up here to share with you. But what I want to share with you in closing is this. When I started taking classes, I knew I wanted to change my life. I knew at the time there was more to who I was and what I was getting from my life. And I knew I would meet myself along the way. I knew that every dollar I spent and every minute I dedicated to classes was an investment in my life. As a practitioner, my passion is teaching, and as a human, I love the philosophy. As a human, I'm challenged occasionally. However, as a practitioner, I have acquired tools and resources to help me with my recovery time. So what I hope tonight is that at some point I get to see each one of you ready to make that dedication for yourself and see you in class.
Training that goes into what they do and who they are. So I will say it again, if you need to meet with a practitioner, know that they can serve you and support you in whatever it is that you're going through in your life. And after service, Deborah J will be up here to be available for prayer. So if you'd like prayer, there's also a box in the back for prayer requests. So that's also an option for you. All right, I'm now going to bring up Marie Haller, who's going to talk a little bit about some upcoming events and things.
Hello, everybody. Okay, I'm going to let you know what's going on. And Foundations of Science of Mind, the very first class. If you don't need a nap after listening to Deborah J, which I kind of need a nap after all that, but this class is the first class that is available to take before you take all the other classes to become a practitioner. Foundations of Science of Mind, it's going to be January 12th through March 16th from 6 to 9 p.m. in person. Registration ends tomorrow. So really, if you'd like to participate, I'd register tonight while you're here. And that's Thursday, isn't it? That it starts on
Thursday nights.
It starts on Thursday. It's Thursday nights. And
I'd like to say something. Can you tell?
That's
okay.
why I'm, yeah.
So this is a class that will teach you the basic principles of our teaching. So you don't have to be a practitioner. You don't have to even want to be a practitioner to take it. It's just to help you understand more clearly what we're about. So if that interests you, starts on Thursday, registration ends on Monday. Come see me if you have questions because I'm teaching the class. Okay.
And it's a fun class.
It is a fun class.
I've taken it 3 times, and now I'm about to take it a 4th time. I'll never be a practitioner, and I'll probably have to take it a 5th time. I failed it the first 3 times. So, no, there's no failing.
No.
All right, so food for new thought. The Thai dinner registration is closed. You can't register. But they put it on the announcements anyway, so we could tease you all.
No.
So you could save $10 by not coming to the dinner that's not available anymore. But if you would like to host a dinner, and I will do this, I'm not sure it'll be next month, but I'm gonna barbecue steaks one of these months. You can come to my house, I'll barbecue steaks, and you want to sign up in the back of the room if you want to offer this at your house. But all the money, it'll be $10 a person, just like it says up there on the slide.
No. So
I'm sorry.
It says $30
on the. Well, I can't see that part of the slide and the reflection on the glass. And of course, my notes don't say how much it costs. So, $30 a head. And it'll be whenever the next one is, whoever wants to host it, great. There'll be one at my house. We'll have steaks. It'll be $30 a head. And all the money goes to the church. So that's the important thing. This is something we're doing to help the community.
And go ahead.
And Leah?
Yes. So the form is actually on the lobby table. And you can be creative and create whatever theme you want. You can do whatever. It doesn't have to be a particular. You could cook
You could, like,
steaks.
Vegas
You
night.
could Vegas night. You could
Vegas.
do something really fun and goofy. Everybody has to wear a silly hat. I mean, really. So the whole purpose of this, though, is to create community. The whole purpose of it is to get to know others in the community and to connect in a small group, intimate setting over a delicious meal. So that's why we're doing this. And yeah, so just wanted you all to know that. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That's so much better now. Okay. Next Sunday, you do not want to miss this. Reverend Dr. Michelle, I can't even talk tonight.
You're looking at me. I have nothing to do with that.
Where do you find these people that help out? I mean, it's like you just dragged me in off the street. Okay, Reverend Dr. Michelle Medrano is going to be here. She's going to be our guest speaker. She is one of the co-senior ministers at Mile High Church in Denver, the largest religious science church in our movement. And she will share on activating the power of prayer. So today we heard about God. Next week, we're going to hear about activating the power of prayer. So please join us for that. Michelle, I've known Michelle for 25 years. She is an awesome speaker. She has an amazing sense of humor. So come and join us next Sunday and see her and get to experience her magic. Powerful Prayer Workshop. Enjoy the power of affirmative prayer, January 29th from 2:30 to 4:30. This will be facilitated by Lonnie Hickman, one of our practitioners. And the cost is $25. Learn how to pray powerfully. And you can do that in foundations as well.
Yes, true.
And build community with new people and take a class and learn about who we are and what we do and what we believe and how it all works. That's 2 commercials for foundations, because I think foundations is great. CSL NoCo Youth Dinner, the last Sunday of every month. Our Utes, the Utes is cooking us dinner, breakfast for dinner. We are having breakfast for dinner, $10. The proceeds go to support the teen camp. They will prepare us dinner. We will have pancakes and bacon and sausages and all kinds of fun stuff. And you could join us today after service for a community dinner in the celebration hall behind us. There is potluck dinner, and please join us and meet each other and meet us and meet Julie and meet Reverend Leah. And
Yeah, I have a good time.
I may even be around too if anybody wants to meet me. And last but not least, for everything that I didn't say or forgot to say or Reverend Leah didn't interrupt me to say up here, go to our website, cslnoco.org, that I'm standing right in the way of. There you go. You can find it all there. Thank you so much. That is me.
Thank you, Marie. All right, please stand. Oh, you're getting applause too. Look at that. Nice. Please stand for our benediction and our closing song. All right, so if you want to just take in these words, or you can say them out loud along with me. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you awaken to the light of your own true nature. May you be healed, and may you be a source of healing for all beings.
Oh, there's no and so it is. Oh. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for love. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for love. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. One more time. Yes, I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.